we're moving on to the building to iterate tool, and we need to copy and paste that kind of synthesized example that we made. And I'm going to pull it down. And we need to, just like we did in the last, hang on a sec. Just like we did in the last prototype section. Oh, shoot. Hang on. We need to like use this building blocks tool to iterate on our idea and create a new kind of develop it in a more robust way. My computer is not copying. Copy. Paste. There we go. Okay, great. All right, so we've got this character-based stories to share strategies for how to learn through activities.
And are we when we go through this building blocks, are we thinking through what happens in the videos or stories we make, or we're really talking about how parents and students will use like whatever it is that we make? We're talking about the events, rituals, time. Like time is they look at it before. Like
yes,
we're talking about the experience of using this character-based thing that we're creating.
Yes. And I think we should think a little bit about, how like it might happen too, but I think so. And we also don't need to use all of the boxes. So I wonder about, is there a good one for events? Like, or should we just X that one out?
Well, it could, I don't know, the events. I mean, you had mentioned a version where it's like a video that you watch or something that you do like before you learn for the day. That sort of helps set you up. I also wonder if some of this relates to time, but there's also been discussion from like the folks that we've talked to around frustration of moments of like feeling stuck or feeling like preparing beforehand or moments of being stuck or moments of frustration or need for re-energize.
Yep. So use this resource when you are preparing to learn or you need it's like an SOS.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that a ritual could be fun, like since this is meant to be fun and entertaining, like could we like open every video or every story with like some kind of story about real life or joke or something?
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I think that's also maybe why it depends on what the format is, but why I think like Bill Nye has like a song.
Yeah, right.
So sort of a jingle but I like this idea of a joke, like a knock knock joke even, or something that sort of helps you change out of whatever headspace you're in.
Yep. So time is kind of similar to events, but I feel like these should be accessible anytime.
Yeah, and maybe relatively short.
Yep. Bill Nye was 2 minutes.
Yeah. And that was like one segment of a longer show,
right?
But clearly it was like self-contained, right? So like I can imagine a whole show about learning spaces, but it could have 5 or 10 different segments that are just 2 minutes long.
Yep. Maybe we say they should always be 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is there a policy? I mean, I guess the policy in a way is that it should just be accessible in all kinds of formats so that we are equitably Sharing it.
Yeah.
Communication. So this is the question, like, do we do it via like social media, YouTube? Is it like a community based thing?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that would, I don't know, maybe this is a thing that we can test versions of this, because I wonder, if it's a comic strip or still images, you could download that or email it or send it in, certain segments over WhatsApp. It could also sort of be like animated with like voiceover and music and sound effects to make a video. So I wonder if there's a way that we like, I don't know. I'm still not entirely sure what the like sort of best medium is, but it does seem like it needs to be accessible, because it sounds, we know that we're sort of operating in a world where people have access to a lot of these things, but there's a huge group of people that don't, that still have sort of traditional cell phones, not smartphones, or maybe don't have laptops, things like that.
Yep. So like there always needs to be both a video and a hard copy.
Yeah. So that's where I feel like, and maybe we can find some examples of this, but like comics or comic books or graphic novels that has also been animated and have voiceover could be a great reference point for like one image but produced in a lot of different ways.
Yep. I'm going to put under roles, learning experts and a production team.
Cool.
I don't know that we need a space. Maybe that's the thing that we don't need.
Okay, great.
Right? Because
yeah. I mean, I think that space might be one of the things we talk about in the videos, but it's not really true to this experience. I mean, it's at home, but I don't think that requires calling out.
So we need budget to produce these resources in a variety of formats. I also, because I know that in our next steps we had said that we would also want to do some secondary research. So I came across this resource that is about like helping kids with learning from a distance. So I'm just going to put this on our board as well as a reference as we develop the idea.
Great.
So what assumptions are we making?
I mean, it's, I think the nice thing about this assumptions activity is that even if it's something that we've heard before or something that we're, because a lot of this at this point is being built upon our research and our feedback from the last prototype, but that shorter is better. So that's one of the things that like short, accessible, quick. I mean, I think that we've heard that from Halima and Arjun, but now that we're going to make it, I think it's definitely an assumption that we should test.
Yeah, that is shorter formats better or more accessible. So yeah, here, hang on. Are shorter formats more accessible? I wonder about testing, like, is a funny, like, kind of expert character guy like Bill Nye, like, good? Like,
yeah. Yeah, is there really even a need for like a central character in a way?
And I almost wonder if we could like test that by just showing a clip of Bill Nye.
Yeah.
And say like, what if this was about learning how to learn? Like, would that be fun?
Yeah.
Would that be helpful?
And or maybe we could sort of rank, maybe, it's not even quite a prototype. It's almost back to like a design research thing. But if we showed a bunch of images and we sort of asked people to like order them in rank of who do you want to learn? It's like one is Bill Nye, one is Superman, one is like a panel of experts, one is like a group of students, one is a family, to sort of understand like who are people looking towards as like being the voice
right
of all of this. That could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think that we have some assumptions around, which it's somewhere in here, but this kind of team of parents, I think is a really neat idea, and it makes sense, but I think it could be tested as an assumption.
Yep. So I also wonder about like even showing like a clip of someone explaining the universe from like a college lecture and then Bill Nye, and like also seeing like, so maybe who has credibility to share ideas. I also wonder about this, the conversation we were having earlier where it's like, what is more important? Like the knowledge or maybe it's not even what is most important, but like just the knowledge, strategy, or a guided activity. Right? Does that make sense? Like in terms of what we were talking about, like in terms of what the kind of information that's shared is?
Yeah. Is that a little bit of like whether we talk about meditation as a tool for being a better learner versus just like having a meditation activity? I mean, I think even if you have the meditation activity, you talk a little bit about why it's valuable, but like one is something to do and one is something about how to do other things.
Yeah, I guess we can also just say, is learning how to learn helpful?
Yeah.
Like we're making an assumption about that.
Yeah. Because I think that we're right, but there's a little bit in the like double checking that when our conversations were like, we want to know how to learn, that it was actually like how to learn and not just how to use all these tools that we're being given. You know what I mean? Like, which is a slight variation, but it's like, there's lots and lots of content in the world, and just double checking that what they're not really asking for is like, how do I use all this content, as opposed to like, how do I learn and then how do I use all the content? So
yep,
sort of
awesome. Well, do we feel like we got it pretty well?
I think maybe one more is around this sort of like checking the assumption that videos and hard copies are both are the two mechanisms by which people want this content.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't phrase that as a question. Is having two versions of every resource the best or the most helpful or equitable strategy?
Yep. Hang on. My computer's having a challenge. Shoot. Resource the most helpful or equitable. And then like I'll just put here videos or copies.
Got it. Okay, great.
Cool. Great. Well, let's move on to the next one.
Sounds good.